मैम ये लो।
Namaskar and a very warm welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the closing ceremony of the Asia Ministerial Conference on Disaster Risk Reduction 2016, organized by the Government of India in collaboration with the United Nations International Strategy for Disaster Reduction. We extend an extremely warm welcome to Honorable Home Minister of India, Shri Rajnath Singh Ji. We would also like to welcome His Excellency, Mr. Khurelsukh Ukhna, Honorable Deputy Prime Minister of Mongolia. We welcome Shri Kiran Rijiju, Honorable Minister of State for Home. Shri Hansraj Gangaram Ahir, Honorable Minister of State for Home. Mr. Robert Glasser, Special Representative of the United Nations Secretary General. Dr. P.K. Mishra, Additional Principal Secretary to Honorable Prime Minister. Shri Rajiv Mehrishi, Home Secretary. Shri R.K. Jain, Member, NDMA, and Mr. Luis Felipe Punte, National Coordinator of Civil Protection Mexico on the Global Platform on DRR in May 2017 in Cancun. Ladies and gentlemen, we would firstly like to extend an extremely warm welcome to our Honorable Home Minister, Shri Rajnath Singh Ji, to this closing ceremony with a bouquet of flowers. Thank you, sir, for gracing this momentous occasion. Ladies and gentlemen, we will firstly have the award ceremony for the Disaster Risk Reduction Short Film Competition, which is one of the highlights of AMCDRR. Over the next 25 minutes, we will see clips from some remarkable films and acclaim the 3 winners who have each produced a wonderful story on reducing disaster risk and adapting to climate change. 52 entries were received from all over the Asia region, covering a variety of important DRR issues. The various entries capture several success stories of lives being saved and livelihoods and development being protected. These films and other such educative documentaries are vital to support successful implementation of the Sendai Framework for Disaster Risk Reduction 2015-2030. Ladies and gentlemen, the film competition consists of 3 categories: Best Short Film on the Positive Human Impact of DRR, Best Short Film on DRR for Development, Best Short Film on Adapting to Climate Change. The jury for the competition brought a wealth of DRR and journalistic experience to the difficult task of choosing our winners. The 4 judges were the Asia Institute for Broadcasting Development, AIBD, the Asia Pacific Broadcasting Union, ABU, the Asian Disaster Preparedness Center, ADPC, and the United Nations for Disaster Risk Reduction, UNISDR. The Best Short Film on Positive Human Impact of DRR. First to Category 1 for the Best Short Film on the Positive Human Impact of DRR. Ladies and gentlemen, let's enjoy a brief montage of the 5 finalists selected by the jury. Can we have the film, please?
Солой пеш борун исахи мечи, там я сельмиомад, яр сельмиомад, там я хамач пробиши. Амисол ки мисол мо амин бауста катои кантури мисол амда драх шудим, сел амисол наома, тома наома се. Ами ха борун исах грифт, ай дига соло дида борун исахта бисоши. Лекин сел наома.
বাংলাদেশ রেড ক্রিসেন্ট সোসাইটির উদ্যোগে স্টুডিও থেকে সরাসরি সম্প্রচারিত ফোন ইন অনুষ্ঠান।
হ্যালো রেড ক্রিসেন্ট, আমরা শুনছি আপনাকে। প্রিয় শ্রোতা, দূরের ও কাছে যে যেখানে বসে আমাদের অনুষ্ঠান শুনছেন, সবাইকে জানাই অনেক প্রীতি, অনেক শুভেচ্ছা।
Bây giờ chúng ta sẽ cùng nhau xem một vở kịch. Thì cô Hôn bắt đầu thì cả nhóm sẽ thi nhau lên bảng. Nhóm nào mà viết được nhiều hiện tượng nhất trong vở kịch thì nhóm đó sẽ thắng. Bắt đầu!
Talaga po, ma'am, na bago. Iba na talaga kang dati. Arami na kung paano kami maglikas. Arami na kung ano ang samuyang dadarahon sa evacuation.
Doon sa mga IP sector namin. Parang na-discriminate sila. Kumbaga, ituturing mo na silang na part kayo ng community. Kasi iniisip ko, kailangan lang nating involve yung community. Ipakita sa kanila na hindi lahat ng decision dito yung barangay official lang. Kailangan makikialam tayo. Sama-sama tayo dito.
We started conserving our monuments, heritages, history, traditions with a vision to preserve them. Analysis began to bring this plan into reality. And that's why, for the very first time in the country, our state government planned to turn our heritages to earthquake-resistant ones. With those facts on revelation, the Revenue Department of Tripura started their skill-based experiments.
Of the winner, the jury said, "This beautiful film stars school children full of energy and learning. It delivers a powerful message of hope and shows how simple and fun games can save lives and protect our future." There was simply no other film that showed the positive human impact of DRR in such an enchanting manner. Ladies and gentlemen, to present the winner of the Best Short Film on the Positive Human Impact of DRR, I would like to request Honorable Home Minister Shri Rajnath Singh Ji to kindly present this award, and the winner is I Play, I Learn and I'm Safe from Vietnam. And this goes to Ms. Dang Thuy Duong. let's see a short clip of her film. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause from Miss Dang Tui Zhong. Congratulations for this wonderful film. Thank you, Honorable Home Minister, for presenting this award to her. May I please request her to kindly share her experience with her, how she feels about getting this award.
Ladies and gentlemen, firstly, on behalf of Live and Learn for Environment and Community, I would like to thank the organizer for having held such a meaningful competition. Today in Vietnam, my home country, many areas are continuously having to struggle with floods, typhoon, landslide, and drought. As a result, children are losing their lives and their future. However, they are not actively engaged in disaster management. And at Live and Learn, we want to change the situation by making disaster risk education to be more lively and engaging young people in the preparation for any natural hazard. And children love fun, and we learn best when we are active. The film I Play, I Learn, and I'm Set depicts our active learning and action approach to promote children and youth participation. This award is a great encouragement for us to keep up our work, and we plan to use the prize to promote disaster risk and climate change education in recent disaster hit area in my country, and to reach further and further more and more children, youth, and school in Vietnam. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Zhong, and we hope that you continue to make such inspiring films. Ladies and gentlemen, now for category 2, the best short film on DRR for development. Let's enjoy a brief montage of the 5 finalists selected by the jury. Can we have the montage, please?
আসি এই অবস্থায় বাস করতেছি কনসার্ন ওয়ার্ল্ডের মাধ্যমে এই একটা ট্রেনিং দেওয়া হয় আমরা পরিকল্পনা শিখি তারপরে আমরা শিখি যে কীভাবে বন্যার থেকে রক্ষা পাওয়া যায় ইউনিয়ন পরিষদ থেকে আমরা একটা পরিকল্পনা যে জমা দিয়েছিলাম সেই জন্য আমরা এই বিটা উঁচু করলাম করে তারপরে আমরা গ্রাম যখন বিলীন হয়ে গেল
Previously, there were no poultry sheds. I kept the poultry under a basket, and many used to die. Now I keep the chicks inside the poultry sheds, and all of them are surviving. The feed that I have received from FAO is helping the chicks grow faster, and also the hens are laying eggs early. I have earned 1,800 taka by selling poultry in the market.
Hari ini boleh terjadi dan menjadi jawaban untuk persoalan-persoalan kekeringan yang kita alami di daerah ini. Upaya seperti ini adalah upaya cara yang perlu kita adopsi di tempat lain untuk mengatasi kekeringan sekaligus mengantisipasi kekurangan pangan.
सरकार जितेबाला घोषणा कला आने आम डेट्रे बन्या हम बात्या हम एम कही जो प्रकार कहते समुद्र माने जमती कहते समुद्र सेमती आमको जना पड़ा ସମୁଦ୍ର ମାନେ ପୁରା ବଢ଼ିବାର ଲାଗିଲା। ହେଲେ ଆମେ ଡଙ୍ଗା ଉପରକୁ ଟେକିଲୁ, ହେଲେ ତାହା ସକାଳେ ଆହୁରି ଜୋରରେ ସମୁଦ୍ର ମାନେ ଖରା ହେଲା। ତାପରେ ଆହୁରି ଡଙ୍ଗା ଉପରକୁ ଟେକିଲୁ, ତାପରେ ପୁରା 3-4 ଦିନ ହେଲା ଆମେ ଡଙ୍ଗା ଟେକି ଟେକି ଆମର ପୁରା ଖାନ୍ଦ ବହୁତ ପରିଶ୍ରମ ଆମକୁ ଲାଗିଲା।
Every school nominates a school safety focal teacher. The School Disaster Management Committee is formed with the President of the School Management Committee, SMC. 6 ministers from Bal Sansad, also known as the Children's Cabinet, to develop leadership skills in children so that they can effectively participate in the development of their schools.
Ladies and gentlemen, on the winner of Category 2, the jury said, "This uplifting, wonderfully paced story shows a community coming together in collaboration rather than competition. The resulting improvement in the management of their scarce water supply benefits everyone, increasing harvest yields and strengthening food security. In other words, DRR is a matter of working with rather than against nature." And the winner is the Resilient Ones from the east of Indonesia by Ms. Kartika Juvita. Let's have a short clip of her film, please.
Maksud pakai aturan supaya dia jelas. Hari Kamis kami tutup dan hari Jumat semua anggota siram. Hari Sabtu dengan hari Minggu dengan hari Senin kami tutup sampai dengan hari Selasa. Hari Rabu baru kami pakai untuk siram semua sayur yang ada di keliling. Karena air kita siram tiap hari, akhirnya buahnya lebih bagus. Dulu kalau tomat, kalau 5 are, ya kalau panen itu seperti 25 ember. Tapi sekarang 5 are, panen bisa 50 ember.
May I request Honorable Home Minister to kindly present her the trophy. Heartiest congratulations, Ms. Kartika Juvita. May I now request you, Ms. Juvita, to kindly share your thoughts on this winning moment with us.
Oh, this is thank you for this opportunity. So this movie is made from the voices of community in Nusa Tenggara Timur, Indonesia, who always experience with drought years. In reflect the community's experiences and evidence based in Partner for Resilience program, which globally working in 10 countries. So this movie actually we would like to show to everybody in here actually about to understand actually how disaster risk reduction is not standalone. Climate change adaptation and environment restoration could be integrated and streamlined in more sustainable livelihood development as well as policy dialogue towards the resilience. On behalf of PFR Indonesia, I would like to gratitude to Indonesian government, especially to BNPB in our cooperation and support. Also to all PFR partners, last but not least, for India government and UNICDR to give opportunity to us to sharing our voices regarding resilience. Thank you.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the best short film on adapting to climate change, Category 3. Let's enjoy a brief montage of the 5 finalists selected by the jury.
पहले तो बहुत कम फसल करते थे, जानकारी नहीं था, जो सादा जो सीधा लगता था उसको धान गेहूं करते थे। इस समय हम लोग 75 किस्म का खेती साल में निकाले हैं। मिलवा फसल जब हम बोएंगे मिश्रित खेती, एक खेती के साथ कई खेती करेंगे तो एक फसल चला जाएगा दूसरा हो जाएगा।
These farmers have gone a step ahead to reclaim their autonomy over seeds.
দায়িত্ব প্রাপ্ত ব্যক্তি আফসার আলী সালাম রুকসানা।
ফলে ওই শীত এবং কুয়াশা থেকে রক্ষা করার জন্য এই শুকনা মাটিতে বীজতলাটা করা।
They explain how these are helping them to address climatic vulnerabilities and disaster risk in their communities.
Mọi thứ trở nên khó khăn hơn. Những trái bắp nhà em không còn cho nhiều bắp như lúc trước. Có nhiều khi những cây bắp bị trời hạn hán, không có nước tưới làm cho cả vụ chết hết. Không thu được trái bắp nào nên mẹ rất buồn.
किसी गांव का डिजास्टर प्रिपेयरनेस करना है, तैयारी करना है या लोगों को एजुकेट करना है तो उनका प्लानिंग और पॉलिसी वही गांव वाले से उभर के आना चाहिए। इसमें एक कहावत होते हैं, ऑल बिग जर्नी स्टार्ट विद अ स्टेप एंड इट इज नेवर टू लेट टू टेक दैट स्टेप। हम सबको ये याद रखना पड़ेगा।
That lakes would ensure availability of local water resources during emergencies. Then they'd show the real picture to make citizens understand why conservation of lake water is crucial.
हमको सबसे पहले अवेयर किया, जागरूक किया क्लाइमेट चेंज के बारे में। संघर्ष के दिन कभी आ सकते हैं, उस समय में कैसे हम जल प्रदाय को सुचारू रूप से बनाए रखें।
Let us acquaint you with the reality, the current situation and the transformation that occurred.
Of the winner of Category 3, the jury said the stunning film captures the disruptive impact of climate change and how informed and empowered people will form the adaptive and resilient communities of the future. This film is a work of hope, beauty, and inspiration. Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of Category 3 is The Catalyst of Change, Adapting to Changing Weather in Ladakh from India by Ms. Meghna Chawla. Can we have a look at the short clip of this film, please?
क्लाइमेट चेंज या आपदा हम जिसको कहते हैं, और ये और लद्दाख का रिश्ता बहुत पुराना है। पिछले 10-12 साल से लद्दाख के कोने कोने में कहीं पानी की बहुत ज़बरदस्त शॉर्टेज हो रहा है, कहीं फ्लडिंग हो रहा है। जिस टाइम पे बर्फ़ नहीं पड़ना चाहिए उस टाइम पे बर्फ़ पड़ता है, जिस टाइम पे बारिश पड़ना चाहिए उस टाइम पे बारिश नहीं पड़ता है। इसका मतलब सब कुछ उथल पुथल हो चुका है क्लाइमेट का लद्दाख जैसे एरिया।
Heartiest congratulations. May I request Honorable Home Minister to kindly present her the trophy. Congratulations, Ms. Meghna Chawla. May we request you to share your thoughts with us on this winning moment.
I have a clear memory of the first time I walked up from the village of Sarthin Leh to see how local farmers harvest snow in winters so that they can water their fresh crops during the spring. The rivers have stopped providing waters in the spring for the last many years. At 17,000 feet, every step and every breath was a huge struggle and seemed like my last. The villagers walking along with us encourage us at every step to see their local wisdom and innovation to work against the climate change that they were working on. We had seeds dedicate this award to the communities fighting for climate change and invisible disasters in the remote areas of the Leh. We are privileged that we bring this story to you. We would like to thank CDKN, START, RDY, Government of Jammu and Kashmir, Ladakh Autonomous Council, our fellow researchers, Chintan Gohil, our director, people of Leh for making this film possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Meghna Chawla. I'm sure that is a film that was close to your heart and it has touched hearts and lives. Well done to all our 3 winners, 6 runners-up, and indeed all the 52 films that entered the competition. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now move on to the formal proceedings of our closing ceremony. Thank you, Honorable Home Minister, for presenting all the awards to our winners. Ladies and gentlemen, may I now invite Mr. Luis Felipe Ponte, National Coordinator of Civil Protection, Mexico, on Global Platform on DRR in May 2017 in Cancun, and request him to kindly share the insight on the forthcoming event. Can we have the English text on the screen while he speaks? Thank you.
Buenos días. Señor Rajnath Singh, Ministro Interior de la India. Señor Kiren Rijiju, Ministro del Estado para Asuntos Interior de la India. Señor Hajram Gargan, Ministro de Estado. Doctor Robert Glasser, Representante Especial del Secretario General de Naciones Unidas para la Reducción del Riesgo de Desastres. Distinguidas señoras y señores jefes de delegación, representantes de organismos públicos, privados y sociales, ladies and gentlemen. Reciban todos ustedes el saludo cordial y afectuoso del presidente de México, Enrique Peña Nieto. Reciban también el reconocimiento del pueblo y gobierno de México por las relevantes acciones que todos los países de esta región del mundo realizan para consolidar una sociedad más resiliente. México y los países de Asia compartimos retos comunes y la única manera de enfrentarlos es trabajando de manera conjunta. Aprovecho para agradecer a la Oficina de las Naciones Unidas para la Reducción del Riesgo de Desastres y en especial al Dr. Robles Glasser por su liderazgo y especial entusiasmo para fortalecer las tareas de reducción del riesgo de desastres en la agenda internacional. También quisiera agradecer al gobierno de la India por su hospitalidad y por brindarnos esta oportunidad para dirigirnos a ustedes, a los actores que lideran las políticas y las operaciones de gestión integral del riesgo en Asia. De manera particular, nos sentimos honrados de conmemorar con ustedes el primer Día Internacional de la Concientización de los Tsunamis. En México, no somos ajenos a los fenómenos naturales que pueden convertirse en desastres. Somos un país expuesto a una serie de factores geográficos y sociales que elevan nuestro nivel de riesgo. Para citar algunos ejemplos, nos rodean 5 placas tectónicas de alta y permanente actividad. Cada año nos enfrentamos a un promedio de 24 ciclones de distintas categorías y tenemos 16 volcanes potencialmente activos. Para hacer frente a estas amenazas, creamos hace 30 años el Sistema Nacional de Protección Civil, entidad que ha velado por el desarrollo de una cultura de protección civil y preparación enfocada a salvaguardar la vida, los bienes y los derechos del pueblo mexicano. Una de las lecciones más importantes que hemos aprendido en este tiempo es la necesidad de mantener una coordinación entre todos los niveles de gobierno para asegurar el diseño y la instrumentación de las políticas que contribuyen a nuestras comunidades estén mejor preparadas frente a los desastres. Sabemos que el involucramiento de nuestras instituciones de ir más allá de nuestra nación, por lo que hemos adoptado el marco de Sendai como principal herramienta para la generación de políticas públicas. Incentivamos arduamente la participación y compromiso por parte de los sectores público, social y privado del país para reducir este esfuerzo mundial en acciones específicas y en el aumento de la capacidad de resiliencia de nuestra sociedad. Es esencial generar una cultura de prevención entre nuestras comunidades que permita salvar vidas. Estamos convencidos de que para los desastres no existen fronteras, pero también sabemos que preparados y organizados los países del mundo tendremos las mejores posibilidades para enfrentar cualquier reto. El año próximo, del 22 de mayo, tendremos el honor de ser los anfitriones de la 5ª Plataforma Global para la Reducción del Riesgo de Desastres en Cancún, México. Por ello, a nombre del presidente de México, Enrique Peña Nieto, y el secretario de Gobernación, Miguel Ángel Osorio Chong, quiero extender una cordial y respetuosa invitación a todos los integrantes de la región asiática para que nos acompañen en esta importante reunión en la que daremos seguimiento y continuidad al marco de Sendai. Nos complace compartir con ustedes que estamos trabajando arduamente para que durante la visita de todos ustedes disfruten nuestras tradiciones centenarias, nuestra diversidad cultural llena de sabor, color y sonidos, así como la central hospitalidad mexicana. Sean todos ustedes bienvenidos. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Mr. Luis Felipe Puente, for your warm invitation. Ladies and gentlemen, may I now request Mr. Robert Glasser, Special Representative of the United Nations Secretary General, to kindly speak on AMCDRR deliberations.
Ministers, ambassadors, distinguished delegates, and conference participants, on behalf of the UN Secretary General and the UN Office for Disaster Risk Reduction, I would like to extend a very sincere thanks to the Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, the Home Minister, Mr. Rajnath Singh, the Minister of State for Home Affairs, Mr. Kiren Rijiju, the Home Secretary, Mr. Rajiv Mehrishi, and all our colleagues at the National Disaster Management Authority for their gracious hospitality and kind collaboration in making these last 3 days so memorable and rewarding. Prime Minister Modi set the tone for this Asian Ministerial Conference on Disaster Risk Reduction when he urged all of us to embrace wholeheartedly the spirit of the Sendai Framework. Today, when we see the outcomes from this conference and the scale of the ambition over the next 14 years for implementing the Sendai Framework, I think the Prime Minister can rest assured that his appeal did not fall on deaf ears. There have been many outstanding elements in this conference. I was struck by the level of participation from civil society, and this came through in many ways in the meeting, from the high level of private sector engagement to the launch of the Local Leaders Forum. Reflecting on how we engage with local groups, including women and girls, people living with disabilities, elderly persons, children, and youth, is important as we prepare to meet the 2020 deadline for a substantial increase in national and local strategies for disaster risk reduction. An important caveat was highlighted yesterday during the technical session on review and monitoring implementation of the Sendai Framework, and it is that we must also ensure that resources are made available at the local level, which is the front lines of disaster response and preparedness, to enable the implementation of those strategies. There's a process underway currently, as many of you are aware, in Geneva, an intergovernmental process to develop the, thank you very much. Excuse me. To develop the indicators that will be used to monitor implementation of the 7 global targets of Sendai. And we expect that those indicators will be adopted by the UN General Assembly in early 2017. This will be followed by a readiness review at national level in time for the Global Platform for Disaster Risk Reduction next May in Mexico, as our colleague Luis Felipe Puente mentioned a moment ago. We aim to have full monitoring of the implementation of the Sendai framework underway by 2020, just 3 short years from now. I'm absolutely confident that there will be significant complementarity between those national disaster risk reduction plans and national plans for climate change adaptation, which will be developed now that the Paris Agreement has been ratified. Coherence between DRR, the SDGs, and the Paris Agreement has been a very strong theme running throughout this conference. The DRR community realizes, perhaps more than any others, how much climate change is affecting disasters, and that we will be dealing with the consequences for many years to come, given the existing levels of greenhouse gas emissions. This region now has an ambitious roadmap aligned with the 7 targets of the Sendai framework and the priorities for action. And the region already has a great well of expertise to draw on when it comes to further improvements in access to multi-hazard early warning systems. In this regard, it was encouraging to hear of India's offer to make its new satellite available for the purpose of improving disaster risk management across the region. I'm sure there's plenty more scope for such sharing of technology and expertise. There is clear recognition in this hazard-prone region of the fact that disasters know no borders and therefore require strong regional cooperation and collaboration, such as we have seen here over the last 3 days. This is the true spirit of Sendai in action. Japan has done much to make World Tsunami Awareness Day a reality, and we've been honored this week to have so many distinguished guests from Japan here with us to share their experience, knowledge, and understanding of this rare but sadly extremely deadly threat. We should be sobered by the observation that the worst disasters that could happen have not happened yet. Reducing the risk of them happening is more important in Asia than in any other region of the world, given the high levels of exposure to disaster risk. The 3 outcome documents of this conference are vital to that effort and build on the guidance to be found in the Sendai framework. They are, of course, the Asia Regional Plan for implementation of the Sendai framework, the Delhi Declaration that reiterates the commitment of governments to disaster risk reduction, and also fundamentally important, the stakeholder action statements containing various initiatives and commitments to reduce disaster risk. In May, as Luis Felipe Puente pointed out, of 2017, the government of Mexico is hosting the Global Platform for Disaster Risk Reduction in Cancun, Mexico. This will be a very important opportunity for the results of this key meeting here today to feed into and reflect Asia's positions and insights on disaster risk reduction. I hope and encourage you, along with, as the government of Mexico and the President of Mexico has done, encourage you to participate in that meeting. I also want to acknowledge and thank the government of Mongolia for agreeing to hold the next Asian Ministerial Conference on Disaster Risk Reduction, a next opportunity for us to meet together to discuss and collaborate on Asian efforts to reduce disaster risk. Finally, I want to thank all of you who've participated for sharing your ideas, your insights, your commitment, including in negotiating outcomes documents, so that we can move forward together to address what is arguably one of the single greatest challenges of our time, the challenge of reducing disaster risk in the face of climate change and population growth. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Glasser, for sharing the in-depth deliberations and outcomes of this conference, which will definitely prove beneficial to the follow-up to the Sendai framework. Ladies and gentlemen, next may I invite Dr. P.K. Mishra, Additional Principal Secretary to Honorable Prime Minister, and request him to kindly address us.
Honorable Home Minister of India, Sri Rajnath Singh Ji, other dignitaries on the dais, distinguished delegates and participants, it is indeed a privilege for me to participate in this closing ceremony of this landmark conference. The enthusiasm in which more than 4,000 participants from all strata of society participated in this conference illustrates that the practice of disaster management and disaster risk reduction has come of age in our region. The very fact that so many people are also here in this closing ceremony, normally when the valedictory or the closing ceremony is held, the number becomes much less, but here the enthusiasm which is visible today is itself an indication that there is so much of commitment to the cause of disaster risk reduction. I had the opportunity of being present at the World Conference on Disaster Risk Reduction in March 2015 in Sendai, where our Home Minister Sri Rajnath Singh Ji had announced that India would host the first AMCDRR in the context of the Sendai framework. Today, all of us look back with a sense of satisfaction that the conference had overwhelming presence and was very successful, and the presence of Sri Rajnath Singh Ji in this closing ceremony itself is an indication of the commitment of Government of India to disaster risk reduction. The credit of the success of the conference goes to Government of India in the Ministry of Home Affairs, the UN ISDRR, and all of you who have actively participated. The quality of discussion during the conference was very high. I had the opportunity to chair the featured event on disaster resilient infrastructure. I was impressed not just with the ideas put forth by the panelists, but also with the kind of response during the discussion we had from the participant. The level of engagement, the exchange of ideas, and the intense deliberations on different aspects of implementation of the Sendai framework give us with a sense of great optimism and a sense of hope that we will be able to do much more than we have done so far. Ladies and gentlemen, as was highlighted by our Prime Minister, Asia is disproportionately affected by disaster. There is a trend of increasing losses, but trend is not destiny. The trend can be arrested and even reversed, provided we stay on course that we have charted for ourselves during this conference. If we stay on the path we have defined through the Asia Regional Plan, we can hope to celebrate the achievement of Sendai targets, and in particular, reduction of losses in terms of mortality, number of affected people, economic losses, infrastructure losses by 2030. In his inaugural address, our Prime Minister highlighted a 10-point agenda and emphasized the all-of-society spirit of the Sendai framework. I am told that these ideas found a lot of resonance throughout the conference in various technical and thematic sessions. Given the multiple dimension of disaster risk and the process lying underneath the accumulation of disaster risk, it is important that we continue to enlarge the discussion on disaster risk management. I hope we will carry this all of us will carry this message to our respective countries and reach out to multiple audiences and stakeholders within the countries to truly make disaster risk management everybody's business. An example was this conference itself. Normally in similar conferences, the participants are mostly delegates and those who are invited. Probably for the first time in such a global level conference, people of this country, of course, because they are near, from district and sub-district level, those who are functionaries of the government agencies and even elected people were invited, and all of them participated in large number. Some of them I met yesterday, and they were extremely thrilled and enthusiastic, and they felt they have gained a lot from this conference. At the technical level, we are very pleased with the finalization of the Asia Regional Plan and agreement on its implementation. It is intended spirit is to provide a sense of urgency and established specific milestones on the road to 2030. Ladies and gentlemen, various aspects of disaster risk reduction have been discussed over the past few days. We have important tasks before us over the next couple of years. These are foundational years for the implementation of the Sendai framework. We have to agree on an indicator framework, as was also mentioned by Mr. Robert Glasser, as well as a system of measurement of progress. This will require not only global and regional level work, but also national and local level work. We have a lot of hard work ahead of us in terms of establishing baselines, strengthening or establishing a system of data collection, as well as developing capacities for analysis and application. The task of establishing baselines and setting up systems for collection of data is in a sense backroom function of implementation of the Sendai framework. These activities neither yield immediate benefits nor provide visibility to those involved in implementing them. However, if we want to truly know the effectiveness of our policies and plans, and if we truly want to enter the next generation of disaster risk reduction, this work is absolutely fundamental. In this regard, I hope this conference has helped foster a sense of community among DRR practitioners across the Asia-Pacific region, and that we will have the opportunity to work together on this important endeavor. There are other strands of work emerging from this conference that will require follow-up. Each of the featured events came up with specific follow-up actions. As a follow-on to the event on disaster resilient infrastructure, we will work with all partners to give shape to our coalition or similar arrangement on disaster resilient infrastructure. We look forward to continuing our engagement in the follow-up to all 6 technical sessions as well as thematic sessions. We hope that when we meet in Mongolia in a couple of years, we will have a lot to share in terms of progress made in laying the foundations for implementation of the Sendai framework. We look forward to seeing you again in the forthcoming events. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Mishra, for your kind words of appreciation and encouragement. May I now invite Honorable Minister of State for Home, Shri Kiran Rijiju, to kindly address us. Honorable Minister has been designated as the Brand Ambassador for DRR by the United Nations.
His Excellency Mr. Kresluk Ukna, Deputy Prime Minister of Mongolia, Honorable Sri Rajnath Singh Ji, Union Home Minister of India, my colleague Hansraj Gangaram Ahir Ji, Dr. P.K. Mishra, Additional Principal Secretary to the Prime Minister of India, Sri Rajiv Mehresi Ji, Union Home Secretary, Mr. Robert Glasser, Special Representative of the United Nations Secretary General, Mr. Luis Felipe Puente, National Coordinator of Civil Protection of Mexico, Sri R.K. Jain Ji, Member NDMA, distinguished delegates, media friends, ladies and gentlemen. Let me begin a few lines in Hindi. ये सच में एक बेहतरीन अंतर्राष्ट्रीय समारोह रहा है हमारे लिए, जिसमें 51 देशों के प्रतिनिधियों ने भाग लिया, 9 संयुक्त राष्ट्र के संस्थाओं ने और बहुत से अंतर्राष्ट्रीय संस्थाओं ने भाग लिया है। इसके अलावा राज्य सरकार के प्रतिनिधियों, पंचायत के, जिला पंचायत के अध्यक्षों ने, महापौर जो मेयर्स हैं और बहुत सारा गैर सरकारी संस्थाओं ने भाग लिया है। और हमारा जो इनॉग्रेशन सेशन रहा उसमें करीब 4000 से ज़्यादा लोगों ने भाग लिया। और इस समारोह के शुरुआत माननीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के प्रेरणादायक संवाद से की है। उन्होंने आपदा के खतरों को कम करने की कोशिशों की जो उनको बढ़ावा देने के लिए 10 सूत्रीय लक्ष्य को भी हमारे सामने में रखा है और उसी के साथ हम आगे बढ़ा और आज इस समापन समारोह के ओर हम आए हैं। After 3 days of extensive deliberation, we have come to this closing ceremony of the conference. We've started this conference with the inspirational speech from the Honorable Prime Minister of India, Sri Narendra Modi ji. He introduced 10-point agenda for renewing the effort of the disaster risk reduction. In the ministerial sessions, which I have chaired, the first one, each participating country outlined their line of action for fulfilling the objective of disaster risk reduction under the Sendai framework. We have seen that all the countries are committed towards implementing the objective of Sendai framework. The deliberations during the 3 featured events which Dr. P.K. Mishra had just mentioned have provided insightful and practical suggestions on preventing new risk from being created in the Asia-Pacific region. The first featured event was Risk Resilient Infrastructure for Sustainable Development, has emphasized the need for strengthening and developing standards and norms for new infrastructure, need for capacity building for enforcing standards, risk assessment of new infrastructure being created, use of latest scientific and technological knowledge for reducing risk, and evolving a mechanism for continuing collaborative efforts in future to come. The second featured event of the application of science and technology for prevention of new risk has outlined the need for applying new scientific and technological tools and knowledge for disaster risk reduction. The third featured event on strengthening regional cooperation for implementation of the Sendai framework in Asia has deliberated on how regional cooperation has made a difference in advancing DRR agenda in Asia. We also had 22 thematic events during this conference where stakeholders from governments, civil societies, the private stakeholders have dealt on issues such as gender-sensitive DRR, child-centric DRR, etc. at length. Recently, the United Nations General Assembly had adopted a resolution to designate November 5th, that is today, as World Tsunami Awareness Day. And I'm glad that today in this very plenary hall, we had observed the first Tsunami Awareness Day. And for that, I would like to compliment the Excellency Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of Japan for taking the lead, and of course the UNISDR for arranging a wonderful event this morning where we have seen the very huge participation. This conference has provided a regional platform to all stakeholders to share their ideas for making the whole region disaster resilient. Involvement of all the stakeholders is very much required for fulfilling the goal and objective of the Sendai framework. I'm glad that all the stakeholders have been part of this conference and made the stakeholders' statement. The next AMCDRR conference will be hosted by the Republic of Mongolia, and we are fortunate to have the Deputy Prime Minister of Mongolia with us. So I wish Mongolia all the success, and we are looking forward for that. It is a privilege for me and for all of us that we have a visionary Prime Minister, Sri Narendra Modi ji, who has put DRR as a priority sector in our developmental agenda. And I'm also fortunate to have my senior minister, Rajnath Singh ji, who has been a constant source of encouragement to deal with this subject. I'm also extremely happy and I feel privileged to lead a very strong team of the Home Ministry headed by the Home Secretary Rajiv Maharasi ji, guided by the Additional Principal Secretary to the Prime Minister, Dr. P.K. Mishra ji, all the members of the NDMA and the team NIDM for coming together along with the UNISDR, and Robert Glaser has personally been a great source of encouragement, and his entire team of UNISDR who have been camping here for the last so many days to ensure that this conference of AMCDRR ends with a grand success. And finally, the most important, I thank all the participants. Without you, this conference could not have been eventful and successful. Today we had a very successful political declaration. It was made possible because of your intense participation, very positive outlook, all the contributions you have made, and that has personally touched my heart, and I feel in the future also this kind of a close coordination amongst us will continue. And I hope that the deliberation in this conference would be useful in managing the risk from natural disaster in a better way. I hope your stay in Delhi was pleasant, and also hope that in future also you will come back to this historic city of Delhi and to enjoy the Indian hospitality. Thank you so much. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Honorable Minister, for your kind address. You shared with us the various initiatives and policies facilitating better preparedness and creating a clear and strong roadmap for disaster risk reduction. Ladies and gentlemen, may I now invite Shri Hansraj Gangaram Ahir, Honorable Minister of State for Home, and may I request him to kindly address us.
इस समारोपीय कार्यक्रम के लिए उपस्थित देश के माननीय गृह मंत्री आदरणीय राजनाथ सिंह जी, मंगोलिया से आए हुए डिप्टी प्राइम मिनिस्टर और सभी मंच पर बैठे हमारे मान्यवर, सभी इस कार्यक्रम में उपस्थित राजनयिक, सभी मंत्रीगण, अनेक देश से आए हुए सब प्रतिनिधि और सभी पधारे विद्वजन, देवियों और सज्जनों, मैं इस सम्मेलन के समापन के कार्यक्रम में इस बात को याद दिलाऊंगा कि प्रधानमंत्री आदरणीय नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने इसका शुभारंभ उद्घाटन किया था और उस कार्यक्रम के शुभारंभ में आदरणीय गृह मंत्री राजनाथ सिंह जी भी और आप सब उपस्थित थे। बहुत अच्छे इस सम्मेलन में आप सभी की उपस्थिति, करीब 50 से अधिक देशों से, राष्ट्रों से आप लोग आए हैं और आपके आने से इस सम्मेलन को सफलता मिली है और इस सफलता के लिए मैं आपकी उपस्थिति की वजह से सभी का मैं धन्यवाद दूंगा और आभार मानता हूं कि इस कार्यक्रम को सफल बनाने में सभी स्तर से प्रयास हुए। हमारे साथी राज्य मंत्री श्री किरण रिजिजू जी, हमारे सेक्रेटरी साहब, सभी ने मिलकर काफ़ी प्रयास किए। मैं इस कार्यक्रम की पृष्ठभूमि, जिसका आधार है कि शंघाई में जो सम्मेलन हुआ था, करीब 187 कंट्री ने उस कार्यक्रम में सम्मिलित होकर जो भी आगे के कार्यक्रम निश्चित किए थे, उसी के आधार पर हमने AMCDRR का 2016 का आयोजन किया है और सभी की प्रयासों से यहाँ पर जो भी रणनीति बनी है, अनेक विषयों पर, अनेक तकनीकी विषयों पर और विशेष करके कुछ नए नए रिसर्च हो जाए, इस पर भी आप लोगों ने कई यहाँ पर आयोजन किए और कुछ निर्णय आप लोगों ने लिए हैं। मैं मानता हूँ कि आज का जो सम्मेलन 3 दिन चला है, इसमें जो भी हम लोगों ने निर्णय लिए हैं वो आने वाली जनरेशन के लिए, पीढ़ी के लिए मार्गदर्शक साबित होंगे और जिससे हम तय कर रहे हैं कि ये जो भी आपदा आती है इससे हमें मुकाबला करना पड़ेगा, संघर्ष करना पड़ेगा। तो कई राष्ट्र एकत्र आकर अनेक विचारों के साथ में हमने इस आपदा को मुकाबला करने की तैयारी कर रखी है और इसमें सबसे अच्छी बात ये हुई कि हमारे प्रधानमंत्री आदरणीय नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने जो विचार रखे हैं, कुछ सूचनाएं की हैं, ये हम लोगों के लिए मार्गदर्शक साबित होगी और ये सिद्ध हम कर पाएंगे कि कई राष्ट्र एकत्र आकर जो देश के लिए नहीं तो दुनिया के लिए एक संघर्ष करने की जो बात आती है, उससे हम मिलकर लड़ रहे हैं और मुझे बहुत ज़्यादा खुशी है और बहुत हम सब आनंदी है कि ये जो आपदा से मुकाबला करते समय हम सब एकत्र आकर, जो कि ये सारी आपदाएं समाज, व्यक्ति और जीव जंतुओं के नुकसान के साथ में बहुत बड़ी नेचुरल रिसोर्सेस और कई संपदा, पूरा इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर को बर्बाद कर देती है, इससे मुकाबला करने के लिए हम एकत्र आए हैं। मैं इस सम्मेलन को सफल बनाने के लिए आप सभी को धन्यवाद देता हूं और विशेषकर आज अंतर्राष्ट्रीय स्तर पर, इंटरनेशनल स्तर पर हम सुनामी दिन मना रहे हैं और उसी दिन आज इस कार्यक्रम का समापन हो रहा है। मैं हम सभी के लिए ये कार्यक्रम, ये आयोजन एक मार्गदर्शक साबित होगा और आप लोगों के आने से हमारे देश के लिए, भारत देश के लिए एक गौरव है कि आप लोगों की इतनी भारी उपस्थिति इस कार्यक्रम में बड़ी गंभीरता के साथ में आपने इसमें हिस्सा लिया। मैं आपका धन्यवाद देता हूँ। जय हिंद।
धन्यवाद माननीय मंत्री महोदय, आपके आश्वासन और मार्गदर्शन के लिए धन्यवाद। Ladies and gentlemen, may I now invite His Excellency Mr. Kurel Sukukna, Honorable Deputy Prime Minister of Mongolia, the country which will be hosting the next AMCDRR, and may I kindly request him to address us.
Эрхэм хүндэт бүгд найрамдахын төлөв улсын дотоод хэргийн сайд Рашнан Синг, эрхэм сайд нар, төлөөлөгчдийн тэргүүнүүд, хүндэт зочид төлөөлөгчдөө, хатагтай ноёдоо та бүхний энэ өдрийн амгалан айлтгая.
Honorable Home Minister, His Excellency Shri Rajnath Singh, dear ministers and heads of delegations, dear guests and delegates, ladies and gentlemen, good morning.
Гамшигын эрсдлийг бууруулах Азийн сайд нарын анхдугаар хурлыг амжилттай зохион байгуулсан бүгдд энтэг улсын засгийн газар, нэгдсэн үндэсний байгууллагын гамшигын эрсдлийг бууруулах газарт Монгол улсын засгийн газрын нэрийн өмнөөс болон хойсоо чин сэтгэлийн талархлыг илэрхийлж байна.
On behalf of the government of Mongolia and myself, I extend my sincere gratitude to the government of India and UNHCR for successfully organizing the first Asian Ministerial Conference on Disaster Risk Reduction here in New Delhi.
3 өдөржүүлсэн баг хурлаар бид 2030 он хүртэл хэрэгжүүлэх гамшигын эрсдлийг бууруулах, Синдээн үйл ажиллагааны хүрээ баримт бичгийг хэрэгжүүлэх Азийн бүс нутгийн төлөвлөгөөг хэлсэн батлалаа.
As a result of 3 days full of deliberations and discussions, we have adopted the Asian Regional Action Plan to implement the Sendai Framework on Disaster Risk Reduction.
Гамшигын эрсдлийг бууруулах чиглэлээр Аз, Тэвийн орнуудын засгийн газраас авч буй амлалтын илэрхийл болсон New Delhi-гийн тунхаглыг бид бас батлан гаргалаа.
And we have also adopted the New Delhi Declaration, which reflects our commitments for reducing disaster risks in our region.
Бидэнд хийх ажил их байгааг энэхүү хурлын үеэр төвшүүлсэн саналууд гамшигын эрсдлийг бууруулах Аз бүс нутгийн ажлын төлөвлөгөөнд тусгацсан зорилтууд нотлон харуулж байна.
The issues addressed by the Asian Ministerial Conference and our goals enshrined in the Asian Regional Action Plan are the strong indication that we have much work to do ahead of us.
Манай бүс нутгийн тогтвортой хөгжлийг хангахад тогтвортой хөгжлийн зорилтууд уур амьсгалын өөрчлөлт болон гамшигын эрсдлийг бууруулах асуудлыг нэгт уялдуулах, гамшигын удирдлагын тогтолцооноос гамшигын эрсдлийг удирдах тогтолцоо руу шилжих шаардлагатай байгааг бид бүхэн хүлээн зөвшөөрч цаашдын үйл ажиллагаанд баримтлах зарчим болгон баталгаажууллаа.
We have jointly recognized the vital necessity to strengthen the coherence between the Sustainable Development Goals, climate change adaptation, and disaster risk reduction efforts, and to shift from the disaster management system towards the disaster risk management system in our vision to ensure the sustainable development of our region.
Эрхэм хатагтай ноёдоо гамшигын эрсдлийг бууруулах Азийн сайдрын 2 дугаар ах хурлыг Монгол Улсын засгийн газар нэгдсэн үндэсний байгууллагын гамшигын эрсдлийг бууруулах газартай хамтран 2018 онд Улаанбаатар хотноо зохион байгуулахаар болсон.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, the government of Mongolia, in cooperation with UNHCR, will host the second Asian Ministerial Conference on Disaster Risk Reduction in Ulaanbaatar City in 2018.
Та бүхнийг энэ арга хэмжээг дэмжин ажиллаад гэдэгт итгэж байна. Та бүгдийг манай сайхан их оронд зочлон ирэхийг Монгол Улсын засгийн газрын нэрийн өмнөөс урьж байгааг нь хүлээн авна уу?
We look forward for your support and partnership in organizing this event successfully. On behalf of the government of Mongolia, I extend our heartfelt invitation to our beautiful Mongolia.
Та бүхэнд амжилт хүсье. Бүгдээнд гинтэх улсад баярлалаа. Монгол улсад тавтай барилгыг хүсэж байна.
I wish you all the best. Thank you, India. Welcome to Mongolia.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Prime Minister of Mongolia, for your warm invitation and address. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now my proud privilege to invite Sri Rajnath Singh, Honorable Minister for Home Affairs, and request him to kindly make his closing address.
Excellency, Mr. Khulsuk Ukna, Deputy Prime Minister of Mongolia, my colleague Ministers of State for Home Affairs, Sri Hans Raj Ahir, Sri Kiran Rijiju, Additional Principal Secretary to Honorable Prime Minister, Dr. P.K. Mishra, Special Representative, UN Secretary General, Mr. Robert Glasher, Mr. Louis-Philippe Point, National Coordinator of Civil Protection, Mexico, Member of NDMA, Dr. D.N. Sarma, Mr. Kamal Kishore, Lieutenant General, Mr. N.C. Marwa, Mr. R.K. Zain, and Home Secretary, Sri Raju Maharshi, all the delegates from Asian countries, participants, and friends. First of all, I extend my heartiest congratulations to all the winners of the short film competition organized as part of AMCDRR. 3 days of an eventful and I hope a fruitful journey has come to an end today. I thank the Honorable Prime Minister of India for his dynamic leadership in the successful organization of this conference. We should especially take note of the suggestions and announcements made by the Honorable Prime Minister, especially the following. Number 1, India's offer to build a coalition or center for promoting disaster-resilient infrastructure. Number 2, India's offer to work with partner agencies and multilateral agencies to establish a facility for technical support to post-disaster construction of houses. I hope India's contribution of $1 million will be used as seed money towards this goal. Number 3, India's offer to make its space capabilities available to any country for the purpose of disaster risk management. Number 4, focus on the greater involvement of women in both disaster risk management and post-disaster management. Number 5, consolidating traditional practices of risk reduction evolved and perfected over countries. We are also fully committed to working to fulfill the 10-point agenda outlined by the Honorable Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi. As you are all aware, the Sendai framework focuses on preventing new disaster risks, reducing existing disaster risks, and strengthening disaster resilience. It also calls for various measures to prevent and reduce hazard exposure and vulnerability and increase preparedness for recovery. This requires a shift from stand-alone disaster management to a more holistic risk-resilient development practice supported by regional and international cooperation. By hosting the first regional platform, this Asian Ministerial Conference of 2016, India has underlined its commitment to such cooperation. Ladies and gentlemen, this conference has provided us a platform not only to share our experiences and best practices, but also arriving at a consensus roadmap to implement the Sendai framework in our region. 6 technical sessions based on the priorities of the Sendai framework were organized during the conference. During thematic sessions, issues of promoting educational continuity and resilience of children, application of science and technology for disaster risk reduction, and strategies and actions for Build Back Better were discussed. The first major outcome is the Asia Regional Plan for implementation of the Sendai framework for disaster risk reduction. The other major outcome is the New Delhi Declaration, which commits use of enhancing regional cooperation. This includes strengthening the role of intergovernmental organizations for the coherent implementation of the Sendai framework, as also the broader 2030 Sustainable Development Agenda and of fostering innovative partnership. Having made a good beginning, we should now ensure that our nations and communities are enabled, first, in devising strategies on knowledge sharing, risk information system development, and assessment of potential risks to make preparatory movements in advance. Second, in analyzing community resilience and promoting hazards safe sectoral development with greater use of reliable technologies. Third, to make risk-informed decisions to prevent and reduce future hazards. Fourth, to put in place methods of assessing the potential impact of disasters on national, local economies, communities, and the business sector. Fifth, to recognize the perils of growing and often unplanned urbanization induced by the path of economic development that we have adopted. Sixth, to focus on mainstreaming the marginalized sections who are most vulnerable and suffer irreparable losses in natural or man-made disasters. Seventh, in sharing the knowledge base and advanced technology, especially with the underdeveloped economies, and enable investments in multi-hazard early warning systems. To conclude, I would like to express my sincere thanks to all who have contributed to organizing this conference. My colleague ministers, UNISDR officials and agencies of my own ministry, and our sister ministry officials and staff of National Disaster Management Authority, Delhi Police, National Disaster Response Force, and the National Institute of Disaster Management, NDMC, Delhi Fire Service, and the Defense Exhibition Organization, who worked assiduously to make this conference a grand success. My heartfelt thanks to all the participants for joining their hands together towards making the Asian regional disaster resilient. I hope your stay in India was comfortable and you will take time off, see and feel the wondrous experience that multicultural India is. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Home Minister, for your noteworthy closing remarks. You reiterated India's commitment and will in cooperation and working towards disaster risk reduction. May I please request Honorable Home Minister Shri Rajnath Singh Ji to kindly present a check of $1 million to Mr. Robert Glasser as India's contribution to ISDR Trust Fund for Disaster Reduction. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to now invite Shri R.K. Jain, Member NDMA, and may I request him to kindly propose a vote of thanks.
Our Chief Guest, Honorable Union Home Minister of Government of India, Shri Rajnath Singh Ji, other dignitaries on the dais, distinguished delegates, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, it is my proud privilege to stand on this historic day in front of you to propose a vote of thanks. AMCDRR 2016, which is the first regional event after Sendai, has not been a small event. It is an event held on behalf of nearly 60% of the world population living in more than 50 countries. This three-day event will help in shaping the future of half of humanity in terms of reducing their vulnerability to future disasters. We have agreed upon a roadmap which is reflected in our declaration and in the Asian Regional Plan. But the real work starts now. Looking at the enthusiasm with which all the delegates have participated, I am sure that we will surely move towards disaster resilient region. Organizing a conference of this magnitude is not an easy task. Without the cooperation
and participation of all stakeholders, it was not possible to organize this. First and foremost, I would like to thank our Honorable Prime Minister of India. Without his guidance and directions, this would not have been possible. He also shared his vision and outlined a 10-point agenda for future in his inaugural address. I also thank Honorable Home Minister Shri Rajnath Singh Ji. Under his stewardship, we've been able to organize this event. He's taken personal interest in ensuring that all arrangements are smooth. Honorable Minister of State for Home Affairs, Shri Hansraj Gangaram Ahir Ji, also provided useful guidance. When it came to regular monitoring and guidance, it was our Honorable Minister of State, Shri Kiren Rijiju Ji, who is also been designated as Regional Champion for DRR for Asian region. On behalf of Government of India and NDMA, special thanks to you all excellencies, heads of delegations and distinguished delegates and participants for having taken the trouble to travel to Delhi, for your active participation, for sharing your experiences and best practices, and to make this event a grand success. I would also like to thank Dr. P.K. Mishra, Additional Principal Secretary to Prime Minister, for his rock-solid support in organizing this conference. He spent his valuable time in guiding us on all fronts, including technical side. His experience in handling disasters and his domain knowledge was extremely useful in shaping the contours of this conference. A special mention and thanks for Shri Rajiv Maharshi, Union Home Secretary of Government of India, who involved himself almost on a daily basis to ensure that there are no gaps left in translating this event into a reality. I will be failing in my duty if I do not acknowledge and thank the UNISDR team, which has been working for a very long time as a co-organizer of this event. Special thanks to event manager and Defense Exhibition Organization for creating requisite infrastructure for hosting this conference. I also acknowledge the contribution of officers and staff of Home Ministry, Ministry of External Affairs, other ministries of Government of India, the state governments, resident commissioners, the public sector undertakings, UN agencies, various NGOs, Panchayati Raj institutions, and other local bodies who actively took part in this conference. And as a result, we have had maximum ever participation of more than 4,000 in any regional event so far. My special thanks to officers and staff of Delhi Police, security agencies, National Disaster Response Force, National Institute of Disaster Management, and all those who helped in organizing this conference. I also thank the media for providing adequate coverage. I must thank the little children who participated in the painting competition and their parents for their support. I also thank those who participated in the film competition where we received 52 entries. Last, but obviously not the least, I especially thank all the members, officers, and staff of NDMA who worked day and night to make this conference a grand success. It is not possible for me to mention all those who contributed to make this conference a success, but I thank all of them whom I could not mention. I thank you all and wish you safe journey back home. We'll meet again in Mongolia in 2018. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Shujain, for your warm vote of thanks. Ladies and gentlemen, with this we conclude our closing ceremony. We will now have a press conference in this hall. May I request you to kindly steer clear of the stage area and the middle area. Kindly keep it clear. For all those who would like to attend the press conference, may kindly join us in this hall. And for others who would like to wish to leave, may kindly do so. Thank you and have a great day.